Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, my name is Robin and I like to talk about queer books, and today we're going to go down the route of basically I'm just going to give you a load of graphic novel recommendations. As someone who loves graphic novels, I thought why not put together like quite a big list of queer graphic novels that if you're just getting into graphic novels and you just want to know more that you could be interested in, or if you love graphic novels and you just want some more recommendations. I'm hoping that this list points you in the right direction and you find some that you are interested about. And I recently read a graphic novel that just sort of kicked this video idea off, and I just thought it'd be a cute idea. I'm trying to give you a few other suggestions other than the one that everyone talks about when they talk about graphic novels. We don't know her, okay? We don't know her. That will not be on this list. I've tried to be as diverse as, when it comes to gender experiences and sexuality in this list. Without further ado, let's hop into this list of queer graphic novels and let's find some for you. So the first one I actually have a copy of, and this is the Moonstruck series. I have only read the first graphic novel of Moonstruck and I really enjoyed it, and I do plan to read a lot more. This graphic novel focuses on queer joy, queer friendships. Not a long one if you want to get invested into it either. The first graphic novel follows Julie, who is a werewolf and a barista. It all makes sense in my mind. And she takes her new girlfriend out to a magic show date, and during this magic show the magician on stage casts a spell on their friend Chet and everything goes horribly wrong. So they all have to come together and stop this magician before anything can get any worse. And again, this is just a very cute YA graphic novel. It's very easy to consume, it's quite short, it's really gorgeously drawn, the characters are amazing, it's very adorable, and I really love this. As somebody who's like 25, I adored this graphic novel. The next one I have a hardback like special edition copy of, but I have not read Mooncakes yet. But again, this is another YA graphic novel. This graphic novel follows Nora, who's a little more magical than most teenagers her age, and she currently works in a bookshop with her grandmother, and she basically spends her day loaning out spell books and also tracking down supernatural occurrences. One night there is a report of a white werewolf, and as she goes to find out what is going on, she stumbles into her childhood crush Tam. As a werewolf, Tam has been walking around for years without any home to call a home or any family or anything like that. So Tam turns to Nova for help. This to me screams perfect cozy day reading with just witchy queer magic. It's gorgeous friendship, like friendship to lovers. I'm so excited to read this because I know I'm going to love this. I'm very excited to read this one. Now, as a full-grown adult, this children's graphic novel might be one of my favourite graphic novels of all time, and that is the Tea Dragon Society. This also feels like a staple in the queer graphic novel universe, because when I was starting to get into queer graphic novels, this was the one that was recommended the most, just to be like, this is very nice, this is very easy, and it's very lovely, and it is all of those things. This follows Greta, who comes from like a blacksmith family, and this is sort of like where you continue your family's traditions down your line. But one day she goes down to the markets and she finds out about the almost lost form of caring and looking after tea dragons. And like I said, this is the first one, and this is tiny. This is just like the floppy edition. It's very gorgeous, it's very cute, and the dragons are absolutely adorable in this. But also the thing that got me about this is that they sell plushies of the dragons in this, and that's just the perfect marketing move for me because I absolutely adored this and I love dragons. And again, it is a like middle grade reading, but sometimes you just need like a palette cleanser, so you just need something very cute and very cozy, and this is exactly what you might need for one of those days. I feel like The Girl from the Sea is like the staple of ones you are like recommended often. And this is very high on my TBR. I have not read this yet, but this follows 15-year-old Morgan, who comes from a small village, and all she wants to do is escape because she has a lot of secrets, and one of those secrets is that she wants to kiss girls. One night, Morgan is saved from drowning from this mysterious girl called Kelty. As their friendship blooms and as their relationship blooms, Morgan realises life isn't as bad on the island anymore as she seems. Kelty may have some secrets that come to the surface. This is again one that I feel like is just a very nice, very cute. This is obviously another YA book. I do have other non-YA books on my list and some next to me as well that I'm super excited to get to. but yeah, this seems like a really cozy one that I've also been wanting to read as well. There's a couple on this list that I'm not going to go super into detail about because I just have quite a long list, but I wanted to mention them anyway. If You'll Have Me is a sapphic first love graphic novel, and it gives very Sunshine GF, Grumpy GF vibes, so I don't really have much more information about that, but I just, you know, again, I have a couple on the list that are just like, it's a romance novel, like, and so that's that's all I'm giving you. This looks really cute, this looks really adorable. Again, I believe this is another YA. A Tale of Two Nights is a queer reimagining of the King of Arthur, like, round table stories. Involves Merlin, King Arthur, everything like that. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I would definitely check that out. Juliet Takes a Breath is, I actually, like, researching for this video, I didn't realise was also a graphic novel and a book, because obviously I've heard it in the book form, but I didn't realise that Juliet Takes a Breath is a adaptation of the book in graphic novel form, which is so cool, and I think more books should do that. This book follows Juliet, who is leaving the Bronx and heading to Portland after she recently has just come out as a lesbian to her mother, and believes that her mum probably won't speak to her again. But Juliet wants to take this time to really understand what it means to be a Puerto Rican out lesbian. She goes off to intern with Harlow Brisbane, who is this like self-love person who writes about like feminism and self-love, but she is white and doesn't hold all the answers to the questions that Juliet may have, and it's just about her going through the world and trying to understand better. I think this is definitely one I'm super interested in picking up because I haven't read the book, but I've heard nothing but incredible things about the book. So I feel like the graphic novel just has to be an incredible graphic novel as well to go alongside of it. The next one I also believe is sort of like a big staple in the graphic novel world is The Magic Fish. Again, this I believe was very popular a couple of years ago when it came out. This follows Tien, who likes to still read his favourite books with his parents, and he gets them from the library and still reads them to this day. But he is not feeling normal compared to the other kids, but his family is struggling with English and he doesn't know if there is a word for gay. It is a coming of age story, and the artwork for this just seems absolutely gorgeous. And again, this is another one that's been super high on my TBR, and I really should get around to reading it because I know I'm just gonna absolutely adore this book. Next on my list is Thieves, and this follows Ella, who has woken up in her bed surrounded by strangest things, and she can't remember a thing about the party in a stranger's mansion last night. She also can't stop thinking about her crush Madeline, but with her newfound love for kleptomania, she doesn't think she can talk to Madeline about this. It's up to them to piece together what happened the night before and start to rebuild their relationship. This again has been high on my list because I really love the cover of this, and I just absolutely adore the artwork on the cover, and every time I've seen this I've just been like, I don't care what the story is, it just looks stunning, and just the colours and everything. It's chef kiss, such a beautiful cover. So I so need to read this. I need to read everyone on this list, but also I do have a few favourites that I've been like, I need to get around to this one, and this is definitely one of them. The next one I want to talk about is The Times I Knew I Was Gay, which is a graphic novel memoir, which I have quite a few on this list actually. This follows Ellie, who knows she's not like everybody else, and she has like a really major obsession with Willow from Buffy. We have all been there. We have all been there. If Buffy wasn't part of your like growing up, then who are you? Your gay past is redacted. I'm joking. And she realises that she doesn't have any interest in boys, and so it's just basically her coming to terms in her teenagehood with being a lesbian and what that means for herself. There's another one on the list I haven't given much of an explanation to, but Welcome to Saint Hell is another graphic novel memoir about being trans and in high school, everything that comes along with that, and understanding and going through your bad fashion phase, understanding yourself at a different rate compared to everybody else. And again, another important read, again, looks incredible, and again, is on my list. And the next one I've included, I don't think I need to put on this list, but I feel like I should just because I want to talk about the movie, and that of course is Nimona. And if you have not watched the movie made me and my partner bawl, like actually bawl tears, and it looks stunning. Like the movie is absolutely stunning. I've watched the movie, I have not read the graphic novel, and I feel like I definitely should get around to that. This graphic novel follows shapeshifter Nimona, who loves a little bit of, you know, villainy, and who doesn't? Or we also have Lord Ballister Blackheart, who wants to take revenge on the system. And together both of them just cause a little bit of chaos, cause a little bit of mayhem, but they want to basically, people that they put up as heroics are not what they seem to be, and they want to bring down the institution. Ballister finds out that Nemona's powers are very unpredictable, and maybe there's something to be said that everybody is scared of her. I absolutely bawled at this movie. It's really, really amazing. It's incredible, and I should definitely get round to reading it because the movie was incredible. So if you are from BookTok, this is a spicy graphic novel. This is the Grand Slam romance graphic novel. It follows Mickey and Astra, who are a little more than friends, but one day Astra dumps Mickey. She's going to a private school to play softball, and we follow them a couple of years down the line when both of them are in a tournament. Mickey gets thrown off their game when Astra walks onto the court. So I believe this might be like, I don't want to say like, it's not an enemies to lovers, but like an ex to lovers again maybe vibe. And I'm super interested in this one because, as most, you know, lesbians did during women's football, I was there. I was there. I get it. I get it. Lesbian sports romance novels might be the way for me. So the next one I'm going to bring out is the one that I basically finished 2 days ago, and I made this entire video because of this one, and that is Flung Out of Space. This is genuinely one of the most gorgeous like hardbacks. Flung Out of Space is a graphic memoir that is, I don't want to say like based, but it's loosely based on Patricia Highsmith, who wrote Carol, or The Price of Salt, and a lot of other things, but that would be the one that she is well known for. And as someone who has read Carol, and it was one of my favourite books of all time, and I absolutely adore the movie, I was super interested to learn more about Patricia Highsmith. And as this book says, Patricia Highsmith was not a good person. As the foreword says on this book, this is a story I believe is worth telling. That being said, I want to be clear, the protagonist of this story is not a good person. In fact, Patricia Highsmith was an appalling person. She was deeply anti-Semitic, racist and misogynistic even by the standards of her time. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that many of her beliefs were nothing short of evil, and I know I speak for Hannah and the rest of this book's team when I say we condemn these beliefs as vehemently as possible. So this basically is a book that just shows about her struggles during her time. It's a very, very interesting graphic novel, and if you come out of it and you're like, I don't want to be associated with this woman, then it's completely understandable. And if you're even more confused by who she was as a person, like that was sort of like the book's aim. She went through many bad things, but she also was a terrible person. And it was a super interesting graphic novel. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely adored this. It was genuinely really interesting. It was really cool, and they didn't shy away from the fact that she was an awful person. Like, that wasn't cut out just so it could be like, look, she is a lesbian and she's struggling in the 1950s, but like, she also didn't have to do all the other stuff as well. This, again, is also beautifully drawn. And Carol, the book, is based on Patricia Highsmith having an interaction when she had to work at a toy store during Christmas, and she bumped into a very gorgeous lady who she's like, yep, gay panic, and Carol is literally based off that interaction. This is the graphic novel that kicked off this video. It is absolutely stunning, and I think it gives you a lot more perspective and understanding to who Patricia Highsmith was. The next one I want to talk about is My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness. Again, this is one that I have read. This is one I gave 5 stars, and this is another graphic novel memoir. This is really incredible. The authors of the work, which is My Alcoholic Escape from Realism, and as someone who has struggled with their sexuality journey, and as somebody who has had an alcohol problem in the past, these ones really hit home for me. Like, this one made me cry a lot harder than I was expecting to, but this is about coming out later on in life. When I say later on, I mean in your 20s, learning what that means for yourself, and it's a really incredible look into a different side of lesbianism that doesn't really get talked about often, and it's a really incredible book. So this, again, feels like another staple in the community. I feel like this is definitely a big staple when you talk about especially lesbian graphic novels. This is one that usually gets recommended, and I recommend it so hard. It's incredible. The next one I want to talk about is On a Sunbeam, which I feel like, again, is another staple, and I feel like everybody is going to have known about this one graphic novel, which is, it's one of the heaviest books I own. It's massive. It's actually massive. It's huge, but it is absolutely stunning. And although Tillie Walden did Clementine, which was like one of my worst reads of last year, this is fantastic, like beyond expectation. This follows Mia, who is currently working on a ship with people who go to different sites and basically make them workable again. And it follows found family, and we follow Mia as we have these flashbacks to her in high school and how she ends up falling in love with the mysterious new girl, and basically why she is on this ship right now. It's very lovely, it's a very touching story. Found family is a gorgeous trope, and genuinely this is one of the most stunning graphic novels I have ever read in my entire life. The artwork in this is just absolutely gorgeous. If you can see it, it's really, really beautiful. All the way through, it's absolutely gorgeous work. So I have 3 non-fictions that I wanted to talk about, and I believe they're all published under the same person and made by the same person. That is Queer, A Graphic History. This follows how we view sex, gender and sexuality, and how we view that today, and how culture and history, class and disability, and how these have shaped our thoughts today. We have Gender, A Graphic Guide, which goes into depth about gender across history and ideas about feminine and masculine, how intersecting experiences between gender, race, sexuality, class and disability has shaped these thoughts. And then also part of the series is Sexuality, A Guide, and that follows sexual identities, sex, desire, consent, and relationships, and things that we may be ashamed to talk about, but this book starts to come in and basically remove that shame from us. And when we're talking about these sorts of things, when you're talking about queer graphic novels, these seem like such an important step, and it's important to read non-fiction sometimes, so I just wanted to suggest these ones if you're looking for more of a grounded view in stuff instead of like a fluffy romance. The next one I've talked about, I feel like, so much on my channel because I read this ages and ages ago, but this is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me. Laura Dean is the most popular girl in school and was Frederica's dream girl, but Laura Dean isn't a good girlfriend. And when Freddie is reeling from one of their many breakups, her best friend Doodle puts her in touch with a psychic, and the psychic basically tells her to dump her, okay? You don't need her, you're good without her. And this follows just toxic relationships, and it's a very, I think this is definitely like one you should be reading. And this is a YA book that handles toxic relationships. It's like in high school, and what are things to look out for in your own relationship. And again, I've gone on a rant before about why this is important, especially to people who are in high school and getting into relationships and they don't know what is toxic and what is to look out for as things that you should be staying away from. And I think it has an additional layer on top of that when it comes to lesbian relationships, gay relationships and stuff like that, because in some settings it could already be a taboo situation that you are talking about. So that additional pressure on top, I just think it's really important to talk about. It's a phenomenal graphic novel, but also I do think it gives you some of the tools, especially if you are in high school, to be understanding yourself and your relationships a little bit more. And yeah, so this is definitely a must read. The next one I want to talk about is Young Men in Love. This is a graphic novel anthology of queer men stories and has been written by cis and trans creators. Again, I can't really give you any much more on this. I love a good anthology here, so it's definitely needed to be on the list. Down to my final 2. We have Specs, which is an 80s horror graphic novel. This follows Kenny and Ted, who are outsiders, and one day they get a hold of a pair of x-ray glasses, and everything seems like fun until one day they wish that their boy disappeared. And this comes with massive consequences, and things take a cursed and dark turn. The last one I want to talk about is sort of like the highest on my TBR list, and that is Joe Hill's Rain. And this just looks like a normal day, a normal sunny bright day in Colorado, and Honeysuckle is super excited because she's moving in with her girlfriend today. And then it starts to cloud over and Nails start falling from the sky. They are bright long crystals that shed the skin of anybody that is near it and not undercover. This is apocalyptic world. This is one that I've like, every time I see it, I'm like, it's such a cool idea, and I just really want to, I want to read this one because I genuinely feel like I'm going to enjoy this one so much. As somebody who has been wanting to read a lot more graphic novels, I thought I would compile a list, so if you are ever interested in reading graphic novels, here's your list, here's your starter list. I do have other ones that are, I didn't want to go too much to ones that had like volumes, but like Rat Queens is queer, Snot Girl is queer, like I have so many that are like, have so many editions out that I wanted to talk about, and of course there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more on top of the ones that I've talked about today. I wanted to give a bit of variation about the ones that I talked about. If you have any more queer graphic novels that you have read and enjoyed that I didn't include in this list, then comment down below. And if you liked this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and I shall see you next time. Bye!